Hey everyone, welcome back to the Energy to Heal podcast. My name is Laura. I'm your host, registered nurse, and Splankna practitioner. And I wanted to let you know that right now we are in the middle of a series where I'm interviewing 10 women who I call my 10 preferred practitioners. And all of their information can be found on my website at lauramilliken.com. My hope is that we can connect as many people as possible with practitioners so that you guys listening can start to get your own work done. That's Laura Milliken, MILLIKEN.com. If you're new here or new to Splankna, my quick story is this. My son, who's 13 now, had a Splankna session when he was just 5 years old, and the change that we saw in his debilitating separation anxiety was so immediate and so undeniable that it completely shifted everything for him and our family. A few years later, I got trained myself, eventually left nursing, and now I do this work exclusively. Every day I get to watch God meet people in their pain, untangling lies, calming emotional chaos, and helping people break patterns that they have felt stuck in for years. The way I explain Splankna is, it works on your autopilot, the part of you driving your reactions, your emotions, and your triggers. If that's you, I really want you to consider trying a session. And if you're on the fence, my hope is that this series helps you get to know these practitioners, hear their heart, their faith, and how seriously they take this work. You don't have to be a Christian to participate, but it is rooted in faith and prayer, so being open to that matters. As long as you're okay with your practitioner being a Christian, a believer, that's all you need. Today I'm interviewing Kathrine. She is a great friend of mine and a master's level Splankna practitioner who also brings in ideas and education about nutrigenomics, emotional intelligence, and Christian spiritual direction. She has over 8 years of clinical experience working with autoimmune conditions and helping people understand that their bodies work at a deeper level than what meets the eye. So she brings a really unique and holistic perspective to her sessions. I think you're really going to value this conversation. So here it is, my conversation with Kathrine. So I know I've heard bits of your story, but can you start and I always at those trainings love asking people, how did you even hear about Splankna, first of all, because it's only 27 years old as a modality. So, and it's not like everywhere yet. And hopefully that's kind of one of the goals of this podcast is to get the word out. But how did you hear about it? And then what was your first experience like with it as a client?
Okay. So I heard about it through a friend who is a lay counsel lady. And she had gone to American Association of Christian Counselors. I had to write that down because I always forget, the AACC conference. And she came back and I was finishing up my schooling for nutrition, and she knew that I was, doing that education. And so she came back and said, hey, I just went to the AACC, and do you know anything about muscle testing? And I said, yes, I do. I've, used it for my children and, with their healthcare. And then I just finished a class on it and how it can benefit us determining, root causes and what's going on in the body. And I said, why are you asking? She said, because it was so interesting and bizarre, and I'm just really curious about it. It's called Splankna. And I bought the book and the video, and I was just really drawn to it. And I am also thinking of you. And so I don't know if it's Holy Spirit is working here, but you watch the video while I read the book, and I'll read the book while you watch the video. And I, we did that, and I was just intrigued. I'm like, oh my goodness. And I kind of walked parallel with Sarah's story a little bit, somewhat raised in Church of Christ. I had a season where my mom was married to a man who was a devout Church of Christ. And so just really, strict and, just very Bible aware, but not Holy Spirit aware. So it was just fascinated me. And I had also had a season where I questioned the whole muscle testing thing. I was like, ooh, is this some kind of voodoo stuff? But
Yeah.
God kind of showed me that it's just your body functioning.
Yeah. Can you
Listen,
actually elaborate on that? Because I've never interviewed someone, and myself included, I've never taken a class on muscle testing. Like,
yes.
I would
So,
love to hear you. How do you explain muscle testing to your clients? How does it make sense in your head?
can I first tell you how I experienced muscle testing for the first time?
Absolutely. Yeah, I wanna know all of it.
It was my, it was years ago. My daughter was, I think, 6 months old. I was still nursing, but I had such severe nausea. I couldn't even nurse. Went to the ER, $6,000 worth of tests for them to tell me, well, your gallbladder is inflamed, but that could be normal for you. And I had already had enough experience with nutrition and doing things naturally and helping the body heal to know that there's nothing normal about an inflamed gallbladder. And no, you're not going to do any more testing. And no, I'm not staying overnight because I've got a baby to nurse. And so, but they did give me medication, so I don't have the nausea anymore. And so I went home and I called my nutritionist and said, what can you do? He's like, well, go see this naturopath doctor. He's in my same building. Great guy, strong Christian. He knows his stuff. And so I went to him the next day and on his table, and he's holding organs and pressing my arm. And I'm like going, oh, into my, thinking to myself, oh, sweet Jesus, what is this? This seems like voodoo, witchcraft. What in the world? And I said, Jesus, just give me the courage to walk out of here right now if this is not anything you want me to be involved in. And
Yeah.
instead, I was overcome with such great peace. And I just asked, what are you doing? Can you explain
Excuse
to me
me.
this technique? And he did in such a clinical, um, common sense way, explaining to me, well, I'm not doing anything. I'm just listening to your body. And I'm like, well, what are you doing with my arm? He said, well, I'm just seeing if you have strength. I'm testing for the strength in your arm while I hold an organ point. And if the energy of your body is strong, you're going to be able to hold your arm up. He says, but if that organ is weak, your arm is going to be weak. You're not going to be able to hold that up. And it's just, he went on to explain in his very medical way about the atom in the center of the cell, and we're energetic beings. And if we just listen to our bodies, it will tell us if there's something wrong. And I'm like, oh, well, what is my body telling you? He said, you have an infected gallbladder. And I'm like,
Had you already told them that that's what the hospital told you?
no, I didn't know
No.
I just said, I've got nausea. I don't know what's going on. Cause I didn't know if I really trusted the hospital and what they
Okay.
said, because they were trying to tell me that an inflamed gallbladder may be normal for you. And I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
that's not normal ever. And
Yes,
I
but it
don't
had
know.
to have been confirming for you, like, "Whoa, he's saying the same thing
Yes.
that my
Yeah.
blood work showed," or whatever it was.
Right. It was that
So that
they
piqued your
did a
interest.
scan. What is that? You're a nurse. What is that scan that they do? It wasn't an MRI. It was a ultrasound, I guess, or something.
Yeah,
At the hospital, they did
I did
that.
not I don't know, I didn't work in any areas like that. I worked
Oh,
in
okay.
mental health and chronic kids, so
Oh, okay. So at
yeah.
any rate, I'm like, well, what is my body telling you? He goes, well, you have an infected gallbladder. I'm like, well, how does that get infected? He goes, you probably ate something in a restaurant or something. And I said, okay, what do we do about it? He says, well, we're going to give you some herbs, and I need you to get off fat, all fat, no olive oil, avocado, butter, nothing for 1 week, and just let it rest and heal. I'm like, okay. And Laura, it cost $75 for him to tell me that with the herb and all.
Little less than
six
6,000 from the
thousand
hospital.
dollars for them to go, we want to keep you overnight. And I'm like, anyway. So I was like, wow. And so that kind of led me to my wanting to learn more about being a nutritionist and the body. Well, really just wanting to learn more about the body. And
Hmm.
so when, my little baby, well, through that, there is really a long story, Laura. But through that, I trusted that, wow, the body is so amazing, and God, you're so amazing. And I just started falling in love with the body. And that kind of led me to go back to school to study nutrition, get certified as a nutritionist. And
Okay.
that was my experience with muscle testing. And in my studies, we had to take applied kinesiology class, which is simply muscle testing. And it was similar to what that naturopath did, where you're touching the organ point while you're holding the arm, pressure of the arm to see. And so I didn't um, really feel drawn to that class. And so I knew that's not really what I wanted to thrive in.
Hmm.
I knew I'll do muscle testing with supplements to see which one is best for the time and the place, but I didn't really want to dive into determining people's root issues with muscle testing. And so I
Hmm.
knew that wasn't my route, but I did take the class.
Yeah. Did you
Yeah.
learn anything else in the class that was like eye-opening, shocking, or like helped you really understand this whole applied kinesiology thing?
Just the magnificence of our body and how God created us.
Hmm.
And just that if he created us to have this energy, then he must be this I don't even know the right word. I want to say expandable, but is that even a word to describe how great he is and the energy that he has over this whole
Yeah.
universe? If we've got this powerful energy that can connect with him, how much greater is his energy and his
Yeah.
love,
I always think
energy,
like there's
you
so
know?
much more about him and us that we just will never be able to wrap our minds around until we get to heaven.
Yeah, the body amazes me, amazes me. And I don't know, I'm even taking a deep dive in learning about the effects of the sun on us and how we need the sun because looking at first morning light, watching the sunrise or being outside in the first morning hours, it activates those billions of mitochondria that we have in our eye alone. And so stepping outside without any sunglasses or contacts or anything activates our mitochondria and
Which
it
gives
really
us more energy for the day, or what does that
more
do then?
energy. Yeah, the mitochondria is the battery of the cell.
Yeah.
And so it activates all of our batteries in every cell and it's a electrical charge, it's like putting our car up to the whatever, the charging thing,
Yeah.
put gasoline in our car so it can go. It's amazing. The body is
Yeah.
amazing. And he created the sun for our benefit.
Knowing that it would activate the energy parts of
Yeah,
our
yeah,
cells to fuel us during the day. Yeah.
yeah. And
I
then
know. I love that, learning
I
that
know
stuff
watching
too.
the sunset creates mitochondria. I mean, I'm sorry,
And
it doesn't create mitochondria, it creates melatonin. It helps our
yes,
body
I was
make
going to say helps your sleep cycle.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
blows me away.
Um, when I was in college taking anatomy and physiology for nursing school, I would walk out of there so embarrassed because I would have tears that I'm trying to fight back because I was like, this feeling that you're describing, like, God is so amazing. I
Yes.
remember learning about the pH balance of our blood and
Isn't
how
it
the body is
amazing?
constantly releasing and absorbing things in our bones to keep our
Mhm.
pH of our blood at the perfect level.
Yeah,
Otherwise, we would die. And
right,
our body does this all without us knowing it. And this teacher is just teaching this like it's just a fact. And I am
right.
like weeping. Like
I
I
know,
feel like I'm in a worship session.
I know, it's incredible, incredible.
It blows my mind. I love learning about it. Okay, can you also talk about like you work with genetics as well? And I
I
want people to hear this because you are like not just Splankna trained. People can like who could benefit from coming to you when you know how to work with supplements and genetics and Splankna?
Yeah. So I'm also a certified nutrigenomics provider, which means we look at genetics to see what lifestyle and what nutrition you need to amplify to help with your genetic polymorphisms, which is just a gene that isn't there's a variant in the sequence of the DNA. So that gene isn't going to, um, it's not going to give you the right amount of proteins or enzymes to function.
Are
And
you
so
saying you
you're going
work with people with only that variant or
to
no?
know we have genetic panels that have specific genes on it. And I look at the immune system, how detoxification inside the cell, outside the cell, methylation, which is the absorption of B vitamins and that whole methylation cycle. I can talk an hour about that. But,
Mhm.
and so I look at specific areas that promote the biochemistry in the body, the immune system. Did I say that already? Neurotransmitters. So if you have it's called a single nucleotide polymorphism in these specific genes, then that means that you need to do more support in that
Okay.
biochemistry. And so lifestyle is number one. We can totally support our genes with lifestyle. And, we don't have to have the family history of strokes and heart attacks or depression or bipolar if we just embrace this beautiful lifestyle of our diets and exercise and getting out in the sun and all of that. And then supplements. A lot of times we need supplements to fill in the gaps.
Mm-hmm. So someone could come to you and say, I've got terrible psoriasis or eczema, or I've got chronic migraines, or I am just filled with anxiety all the time. And you can look at them genetically, you can address them nutritionally, and you can follow up with Splankna sessions.
Absolutely. Right.
That's
Absolutely.
so cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And so
I love
I
that
like
so
to
much.
see the gaps of the genetics first, but a lot of times I'll see someone's genetics and they've got profound anxiety, and I'm like, this isn't due to your genetics. You're either you've got some emotional stuff going on, which all of us do. That's just a given, right? That we've
Yep.
all got some kind of junk, even if we lived in the best upbringing, we live in a broken world. We're going to have some junk to clear out. But it's either that or maybe they're living in a moldy house and that's creating profound neurotransmitter dysregulation. And
So
so
you
it's
could see if they genetically are predisposed to anxiety on
absolutely,
your panel.
absolutely. Yeah. But you don't have to have anxiety. I'm predisposed to be bipolar, depressed, anxious.
My word, I love hearing
And
that so much.
I know. And I don't. Because of my lifestyle. I changed my lifestyle at 26 before I even knew about genetics, but I met this nutritionist that said, you are one big carbohydrate. You need
What
some
does that
fat
mean?
protein. That means he could see it in my blood.
Like you ate mostly carbohydrates?
Yeah, it was in the
Yeah.
early 90s, late 80s, early 90s, where a fat-free diet or you're going to get fat. And so I did
Yeah.
not eat any fat, no nuts, seeds, olive oil, all of these wonderful fats that we have to have to burn
For
fat.
your brain health
And
and
so I was
emotional
eating
health.
pasta and potatoes and anything. I mean, I wouldn't even use oil when I cooked.
You're one big carbohydrate.
I was like, yeah, he looked at me, he goes, you are one big carbohydrate. I'm like, what does that mean? He goes, you need some fat in your diet. I'm like, I don't want to get fat. He goes, well, if this
Yeah.
isn't working for you, you're going to end up with diabetes or worst case, a heart attack. And I'm like,
Just
and he
for
goes,
lack of knowledge. You thought
yeah,
you were doing
just
the right thing.
I thought I was doing the best thing ever, but I was working out. I wasn't lifting weights. I was doing, I don't even remember, aerobics. I was doing aerobics. And, so he said, I think you need to go to the trainer that was associated with him and lift some weights. I'm like, weights? I don't want to get bulky. And he's like, you're not going to get bulky. And then he put me on just, healthy fats and protein. And do you know, Laura, within 30 days, of course, I was 26, but within 30 days, I was real small up top, but I had the wide hips. I went from a size 10, 11 pants to a size 4 in 30 days of just eating lean proteins, avocados, cooking with olive oil, salads, and I was
So you
enjoying
basically
it.
got rid of all the carbs.
I got rid of all the carbs, all the rice and pasta and potatoes and pizza, all of that, and dairy, got rid of dairy and just shrunk.
Oh my
And I
gosh, in
felt
30
so
days.
good. The stinking thinking, which is what I call those ruminating, that was gone. And I'm like, wow, I don't have to be this depressed person that's out of energy and trying so hard to, be healthy and doing all the wrong things.
You know what's
Yeah.
crazy about that? And then I want to get back to your Splankna story, but I feel like we could just, this
I
is why
know.
we have fun at the airport together,
It
because we
is.
can just
We
talk
talk
and
about
talk. But
everything.
like when we feel bad emotionally, we want to eat food, and we don't crave healthy food. We crave junk food.
Absolutely.
That comfort, salty, sweet, fatty, unhealthy fat food. But then when we eat unhealthy, it makes us feel terrible.
Mhm.
emotional and anxious,
Absolutely.
depressed, low energy. So then we are feeling terrible. So we want more junk food
That's right.
to fix how terrible we feel, which makes us feel
Right.
more terrible. Like,
That's right.
why can't our body crave a carrot when we're feeling terrible? Or
I
like,
know.
we had a terrible day. Why can't we crave a spinach salad? You know what I mean?
I know. I don't know. I don't know. 'Cause
But it's a real thing. Like,
it's
diet
real
is a
thing
real
'cause
thing with your
diet
emotions.
is a real thing. And to answer your question, I work really long hours and I'm so grateful that I can, especially at my age. But I was able to because I supported my genetics and I was able to get the brain energy and the mitochondria going. But still, after a long day, what do I want? Dark chocolate chips. And I know
Yeah.
this is gonna affect my sleep because of the caffeine, but, dark chocolate isn't the evil. If you get a really good high quality European dark chocolate, it's loaded with dopamine, and that's what I need is dopamine. I need
Mm,
dopamine, so I need to go out for a walk, but I'm too
yeah.
tired.
Yeah.
So
And if
that's not
if the
and
worst
to
thing
be
you have at the end of the day is a handful of chocolate chips, it's like you're doing
I know,
pretty good,
yeah,
I think.
I know. But that is my prayer of, "Lord, help me with this," and he hasn't answered that yet because I'll go for the handful of chocolate chips. So I'm like, "Alright, I guess I'm fine for now," until he's like, "You're
I
done
feel
with
like
this."
he's like, "Why do you think I made chocolate?"
I know. Exactly. Exactly. But that's my biggest downfall. But yeah. And is
Okay,
that
so
so
nutrition, muscle
okay.
testing, you're getting your
Yeah,
eyes open to Splankna for the first time, and then
right.
your first session. Did you have your first
My
session?
goodness. So, yes. So that, I mean, it was a 2 year of me praying, first of all, "Is this what you want me to do, Lord?" Because I'm finishing up, nutrition. I didn't really know. Anyway, so I'm like, "Well, let me just go try it out." And so that was 3 hours of intense, intense, intense crying. And so I don't wanna
Wow.
scare people, but when you have because a lot of people don't wanna deal with their emotions, right? We don't wanna cry, and it's
Yeah.
embarrassing for I was
Yeah.
really embarrassed, but I, just had just intense, emotions that I'd been putting away, just packing down and not dealing with and not addressing and just thinking, just trying to do my best in life and trying to be happy and, fulfilled, and I was, but there was still so much stuck in me.
Hmm.
And the big whammy went to womb trauma in my
Your
mother's
first
womb.
session was about the womb
It
being in
was
the
about
womb.
the womb,
Was that
and
hard for you to wrap your head around, or at that point were you like, "Yeah, I
for
understand
3
that the body
months, maybe
remembers."
it's 2 months, I'm like, "What in the world?" I'm like and it was profound, though. I left there so lightened, and wow, who knew that I had made this agreement in the womb that would impact me. Is that the word? Anyway, just really make such a strong impact on my life for 30 I think I was like how old was I then? I don't know. 40, early 40, late 30s, early 40s, all these years. And it was an agreement that I thought would protect me. And it was harmful. And it wasn't until I like literally in the session, I felt the Lord saying, "This agreement is keeping you from being your true self."
Hmm.
And I was like, wow, okay, I don't want it anymore. I don't want this agreement. Because at first, when the practitioner was like, we need to break agreement with this, and I'm like, why? Why would I want to break agreement with that? This is protecting me. This has protected me my whole
Oh,
life. I don't want to be
wow.
that person. I don't want to be like that. And she's like, and so I couldn't even hear anything else she said. I shut her out because I was like, you can't, no, I'm done. I'm about to walk out. But then very gently, I heard the Lord's voice. And by that point in my walk with the Lord, I could tell when he was speaking to me. And he's like, what you're protecting yourself is not allowing me to create your true identity. And I'm like, all right, I'm ready to break it. And so
Okay,
we
so I'm
broke.
going to pause you there and give
Yeah.
context for anyone who's new here.
Hmm.
What she's talking about is so you have two different parts of your brain: the conscious part that remembers everything about what you had for breakfast this morning, what you did yesterday. You can recall, you can pull files from it anytime you want. You have another part of your brain that we refer to as your subconscious. It remembers everything you've ever been through, literally back to when you were in the womb. It is so much more aware of life than your conscious mind, and it takes in more information, and it never, ever forgets. when we go through something traumatic, that part of our brain will make some sort of what we call an agreement. And the purpose of it is just to try to help you survive. It's your animalistic survival part of your brain. So if something scary, overwhelming, sad happens to you, your brain will say, hey, I know how to make sure this never happens to me ever again. I will just A, B, and C. And there's your agreement. Sounds really good in the moment. It actually is very effective sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And then it turns into a prison at some point.
Yes.
It's where we get stuck in anger or anxiety or loneliness or low self-esteem. And it ends up being the thing that kind of starts slowly choking the life out of us, to say it in
Yes.
a dramatic way. So even in the womb, Kathrine had made an agreement, or another way to say it would be her subconscious decided that if I'm going to survive this world, I'm going to have to do this thing or partner with this emotion as a way to get through whatever I'm about to face in this world.
Right. Yeah.
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 So I don't know if you're comfortable sharing what the agreement was,
Yeah.
or if you even remember.
In the womb, when I was conceived, my mom she was not in a healthy relationship, first of all, in marriage to my dad. She married really young. And she had just given birth, I think within a year of my conception, to twins who died within a few hours of being born. And so I think before she even had a chance to heal, she couldn't go to the funeral because she was in the hospital, recovering. And so I think before she even had a chance to heal, she conceived me. And so I'm sure, and you can explain this better to your clients, but and I think we know now, we have enough science and medical knowledge to know that when we are in the mother's womb, the child feels everything that the mom is feeling. And it can hear. They say sing and read, and even the dad needs to read to the baby in the womb, and, they can hear, they can feel, they can everything. But the subconscious, you mentioned that it's not all truth. We make agreements that are protective. It's not all truth. But in that, I must have felt all of my mom's, and who knows what she was feeling. I haven't talked to her about this, but I can imagine what she felt at that time. Still mourning, not having a supportive husband. I don't even think they knew how to support each other. They were so young. And so I had made an agreement that I don't want to be like that. I don't want to be whatever my mom is, whatever she's dealing with. I don't want to be that way. And, but what in my session, my first Splankna session, what I heard the Holy Spirit say was, what you're keeping yourself from is preventing you from being your true self. The mom that you knew in the womb is not the person I created her to be. She was suffering, and you don't want the suffering, but by putting this big old stance of, I don't want to be like that, you're going to be that way because you're so focused on it and so driven by that one little vow that I will never be that way. Well, why it's bringing you down and I was so guarded. I was so guarded instead of just being free and allowing myself to be fun and joyful and excited. I was just always on a guard. If I even say that or think that or do that, I'm going to end up being sad and depressed or whatever it was or maybe anger, because I had a lot of anger in me. I don't know what all she was feeling at that time. I can only imagine.
This episode is brought to you by Our Ritual. And honestly, I love what they're doing because it makes real relationship support actually doable in the middle of real life. Splankna is amazing for resetting those deep subconscious patterns that you have. But Our Ritual is a relationship support platform. It combines licensed therapy sessions with practical tools and guided exercises that you can use between sessions. So it's not just talking about your problems, it's actually learning how to communicate better, work through conflict, and reconnect. It's 100% virtual, which means no driving anywhere. And they have flexible scheduling, even nights and weekends. So if you're anything like me with kids and full schedules, that matters. They also offer individual plans, so you don't have to wait until your spouse is ready. You can start growing and strengthening yourself right now. If you want to check it out, I have a link for you in the show notes. When you go through that link, you can use code ENERGY20 for 20% off your first month. Again, just click the link in the show notes and use code ENERGY20 for 20% off. Gosh, yeah.
And so but it was blocking me from being just free and vibrant. I was always on guard, you know?
Mm. And you felt that shift like immediately after that?
I
Was it a
left.
3-hour session?
It was yes, and it wasn't the one was the last one. There was other
Okay,
like
multiple sessions.
there was multiple things, and
Okay.
I kept saying, "Are we out of time?" And she's like, "Nope, we're not done."
You're like, when do I get to go home? I'm tired.
Grateful, but afterwards, I called my friend, who recommended this to me, and she's the one who said, "I really think this is for you. This isn't for me. This is for you. You need to get trained in this." So I called her, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this was amazing. I've never felt more free in my life. I've never felt more free in my life."
After 3 hours. Like, I just think of, like, sometimes you go through different therapy modalities, and it's like, in 6 months, you're gonna start feeling really free.
Yes.
And you're
Yeah.
like, I had 3 hours, and I was a new woman.
It was, and here's the thing, Laura, and anytime I was around my mom, I would feel this anger. And of course, I pushed it down, and, she had called me, I don't know when, anyway, 3 months before she was coming and said, "Hey, we're coming to visit, blah, blah." And I'm like, "All right, I'm gonna be involved in this production, but, you can just jump on my crazy train, but sure." And a week before she's coming, I realized I forgot to tell my husband. And I said, "Ray, Mom, I forgot to tell you, Mom's coming and she's going to stay with us a week." And he's like, "When?" And I said, "Next week. She's coming on like Sunday or whatever." And he goes, "Your mom's coming?" I go, "Yeah." "How long have you known this?" I said, "I know, I'm so sorry. I literally have known for 3 months, but I've been so busy with this production. I forgot to tell you." He goes, "You've known for 3 months. 3 months you've known this and you didn't tell me." And I'm like, "I'm sorry. I forgot. I've been so busy." He goes, "No, I don't care that you forgot. I don't think you realize that for 3 months you've known this and you were not upset at all. Normally you would be angry and frustrated, trying to make everything perfect in the house, everything, stirring all of our emotions up, me and him and the kids." And he said, "You have just not even worried about it." He says, "Are you going to even bother cleaning the house?" I'm like, "No, she's just going to, why? She knows me." He's like, "Wow. Yeah, that session really did work."
Wow. I
Yeah.
love it when even other people
Yeah.
in your life can
And I
see
was like,
you're
"Oh,
different.
you're right. Wow, it would have really stirred me up. I would have wanted everything perfect, would have wanted, you know, would have been
Yeah, like a
worried
spiral,
about."
a whole cascading spiral would have
Yes. Mhm.
ensued
And not at all.
before.
Not at
Wow.
all.
So did you continue going to sessions after those 3 hours, or were you like, "I'm just gonna go get
It
trained in
was after
this"?
that that I said I need to get trained. And so I got trained and loved it. And there was only one that she was the only practitioner in Houston. So yes, I did go back a couple of times and then she doesn't practice anymore. So I kind of relied on using my husband's arm. I don't know if you want to go into that for my sessions because
For
we didn't do,
practicing.
yeah, for
For
practice
yourself,
for
yeah. Oh, yeah.
myself, I
Yep.
would use my husband's arm, and Sarah teaches that in the trainings because there wasn't another practitioner in Houston. And we didn't have virtual sessions then. That didn't come until COVID. And so and then I would go to I would go to training and I would get
Yeah.
lots of sessions,
What
which
do you
I was,
remember about what do you remember about that first training you went to?
um,
Like, how did learning about it for the first time?
I remember being a little arrogant
Oh,
because I was like, wow, nobody must have received what I received, you know? I just,
like
yeah,
you
I
like
don't,
my life has been changed the most here. Is that what you mean?
yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
And I was like, all right. Later, I was like, yeah, that's probably a little bit arrogant, but I was just so excited and everything. But it was wonderful. And I grasped it. I was like, this makes so much sense. This is so powerful. I just totally
Wow.
embraced it. I
See, to
understood it.
me, I didn't feel this makes so much sense. I just remember when they would start teaching in that core training, like, I don't think I moved a muscle while they were speaking. I was like, "What do you mean that this works? What do you mean? Like,
Yeah.
how can it be this easy? I what do you mean?" It's like that's the only thing I kept thinking was like they were just teaching it like, "Well, yeah, of course. You just do this, and then you do this, and you're set free from emotional turmoil." And I just was like, "Am I the only one in the room that is shocked and wants to run laps around this building right now?"
But you already had the experience with your son, right? So you already
Yes.
knew how powerful
Yes,
it.
but I hadn't had my own life-changing experience. I had watched it with my son. I had not had my own, like, I was different after this session experience for myself yet. So I think I got trained in it. Like, I hope that the thing with my son wasn't a fluke. You know what I mean? Like, my son's story was so dramatic, instant, undeniable. Um, Nothing short of life-changing for him and for me because I'm his mom. I'm the one raising him. But I think there was a part of me that was like, I hope this is something that can be replicated over and over again. So I went into my 30 training sessions with a lot of skepticism, like, is this really going to work? Am I going to know how to do this? Or is this going to just be for the people who've been doing this for 20 years? And I didn't have confidence going into it. And then, you start fumbling through your first sessions with friends and family, and they're having these amazing breakthrough moments with the Lord, and you're like, "Really? Are you joking?" Like, and then it built my confidence to see these people being like, "Oh my gosh, my sister has to do this. Oh my gosh, you have to do this with my
Yes.
mom. Can I do
Yes.
another session?" And they're telling me these stories of nightmares that have disappeared and physical ailments that have just, and you're like, oh, I mean, that journey was fun for me. It built my confidence in the Lord. It built my faith. It built my confidence in um, my ability to show up and like partner with the Lord in this capacity.
Yeah.
But it took me a
You know what I
while to get there.
love? I'm sorry. The thing that I love best about Splankna is that, God can heal through any modality. And so,
Yeah.
but I love that Splankna, we submit everything to the leading of the Holy Spirit. We pray, just Jesus, take us to that part in their timeline that you
Hmm.
want to address and heal. So even if we fumble as practitioners,
Yeah.
he's going to do the work. He's going to make sure that they get something out of it. And
Yeah.
I came to realize that through my early sessions because I would be having this quiet dialogue in my head up here and going, I have no idea what I'm doing. This doesn't make sense. Where am I going with this? Is this even right? And I would always hear, just follow, just follow. I got this. Just follow. I got this. And
Hmm.
by the end of the session, I'd be like, wow, I'd be
Yeah.
amazed. Like, I can't believe we just did that. But
Yes.
it's, it's just because we just submit it all. We don't take any pride that it's us doing it. We're not doing anything. We're just
No.
allowing God to move.
And it's so clear because I've had those sessions too where like I'm feeling that same conversation, like I'm probably messing this whole session up. I have no idea what we're working on.
Uh-huh.
What is even happening? Like, I don't even, and you start to question. And I remember doing this session with this guy, and he had been in the military, big, tough guy. And I had it in my head that he probably thought this was dumb.
Yeah.
And we were doing a creative session instead of a healing session. And I hadn't had a lot of experience with those early on to even think that those were going to be super powerful. So I was like, oh, shoot, it's a creative session. But this guy ended up on his knees weeping before the Lord. And I just like sat back and I'm like, I'm not saying a word. Whatever the Lord's doing with him right now, I have no idea. But it came when I was in the depths of self-doubt. I'm messing everything up. I don't even know how to be a Splankna like the
Uh-huh.
Lord was like, I need you to know you are not the healer. I'm the one that does all of this, and your
Yes.
skill level, your understanding, it's not about you. And I was like, okay, thank you.
Yeah. I know. It's so amazing. He always comes through. Always. Always. Yeah.
Yeah, and
And
the
I
Lord spoke something to him that I could have never spoken, or even if I did speak it, it wouldn't have been as powerful.
you know, that's what I oh,
The
I'm
guy was
sorry.
set free that day. No, you're great. Yeah,
That's what I
it was
love about
awesome.
creative. Do your audience know creative? It's the positive emotions that we need to replace
It's
all
been
the
probably 45 episodes ago that we talked about creative
yeah,
sessions. So,
they're beautiful. They're beautiful. When people ask me what is Splankna, I just immediately say it's a beautiful time with Jesus.
oh, I love that answer.
And one of my friend slash she came for a session just to experience it, and she said it's different from deliverance because
Yeah.
for Splankna, it's like meeting Jesus at the well.
Mhm.
It's that time, intimate
It's
time.
so gentle.
So gentle, so compassionate, and yeah, it's just beautiful.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
as we just kind of get towards the end of our interview here, I want to hear a little bit more about like life as a practitioner now. So, you've had your own healings. You continued working on yourself
Uh-huh.
through sessions after training, but now you hold regular appointments. And if you guys are listening, I want you to know she is. I'm just going to say it again. She's one of my 10 preferred. So that means she's virtually trained. She can meet with you. You can get on her schedule and she can just meet with you over Zoom. And yes, Zoom sessions are just as powerful as in person sessions. Um, so if you don't have a practitioner in your area or even in your country, you can literally reach out to her if anything from her story is resonating with you and start working. So Kathrine, I'd love to hear, tell me about life as a practitioner, who you've been working with. Um,
I work with a very wide variety of people. I currently am working with children. The youngest age I've worked with is 3. I mean, they're so fun and cute, and it's just
so
lighthearted.
cute.
It's just the funnest
Yes.
ever.
I
And
love
when
working with
they
kids
sit
too.
still, I'm like, "No, don't make them sit still. This is supposed to be fun." If they wanna play
Yeah.
with trucks, the little I have little cars or trucks or whatever, or if they wanna color, let them.
Yeah.
It's I want this to be fun. This isn't
Yeah.
and they receive so easily. Um, and so I work with some children. I'm currently working with some that have profound brain inflammation that were referred by the doctor that I work with um, at the medical practice. Because I do work for genetics at a medical Hope for Healing. It's a medical functional medicine doctor's office. I do that 3 days a week, and then I do Splankna 3 days a week. And so, and I like doing both of them. I think it's really good. And I also have an iridologist who is a naturopath doctor that refers. I got to tell you this story, and this is how I got into doing virtual. Is she sent the naturopath who does iridology, which iridology is how you look at the eyes, and you can see. It amazes me. You can see from their eyes what's going on in the body. And
Hmm.
so they've been trying to deal with this lady's chronic wart. She had wart on her body her whole life and
Wow.
done the gut healing, all this stuff. Finally, she said, "This is emotional. And you need to go see Kathrine." Um, and I've never met this lady. It was just through another client. Anyway, so
You
she
never
sent
met the iridologist?
Never met the naturopath who does iridology. She's also an iridologist. I've never met her, but she sends me a lot of people. But she sent me, this was her second person that she sent to me. And she said warts are usually on the mother's side. So maybe she can help you digest that and help you heal from it. But we didn't go to the mother's side. We did do generational issues, but it was the dad's side. And I'm like, I don't know what's going to do for your wart, but this is what God wanted to do. Nice meeting you. Lovely day. She texted me 2 weeks later and says, I was in the shower this morning And first of all, it was wonderful. I love this session. Still wondering about the whole wart thing. But this morning I was in the shower and I shaved that wart right off.
My word.
I
After
know.
a lifetime of this thing
After a
being there.
lifetime of having this wart and
What in the
all
world?
this stuff that she's been doing with her, diet and light, everything. She'd been doing everything, taking supplements and herbs and, all of this came right off. And I'm like, wow, that's incredible. So now she's been with me all 4 or 5 years. And so when at COVID, when I got trained for virtual, but I was like, I don't know about this. I don't think this is going to be I don't know. I just didn't feel confident. Well, she said, look, you're doing it. She said, I have too many family members that need this. So she literally went on my schedule, signed up her brother who's in North Carolina and said, you're doing it. And I'm like, but
Panic.
let me tell you I'm just like, Jesus, take the wheel. And I was blown away
Yeah,
at
tell me about that.
it was well, you don't do muscle testing, so you can't just, muscle test to see color, emotion. You're just tuning in. And so you look at the chart and I'm having also to it was hard because I'm having to push away my insecurity, and just
Mhm.
zone in and just praying the whole time. But all of a sudden an emotion will just pop up on the, I'll only see that emotion on the chart.
Like your
It'll
eyes are
just
drawn to that
my eyes are
emotion.
drawn. It seems highlighted. It seems brighter. And I'll say, well, what do you I said, does, this emotion invalidation, does that resonate with you? And they're like, all day long, every day. And I'm like, all right, well,
Okay. Take
let's
that as a sign.
hold the organ point. And then it was just like, I was like, wow, this is good. This is so impactful and powerful. And yeah, anyway. And so
Does one of them feel easier to you than the other? Virtual versus in person? Or do you prefer one?
well, of course, when I started in person, of course, felt easier. Um, Virtual, it's not that it's harder. It takes more energy out of me because I'm
Okay. More
trying,
concentrating.
more concentrating. And so
Yeah,
I don't say I won't do it because I'll do whatever God leads me to do. But for now, I won't do like 3-hour power sessions. I'll keep
sure.
it to an hour and a half virtual. And I
Give
only
yourself a
limit
break.
virtual to people outside of the Houston area.
Okay.
Just to
That's a good
hold
idea.
those, just to spare my, energy because it kinda wears me out a little bit more.
Mhm.
Which I don't wanna that's too harsh of a explanation, but it just takes a lot more out of me. And so if they're in Houston, you need to come see me in
Yeah.
person. I just kinda keep those boundaries in. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. And I found after COVID, with the medical practice, everyone now wants to do their virtual appointments. And I'm like, "Come on.
Mm.
You're doing this out of the Starbucks parking lot 2 blocks away. You can come into the office. The reception is horrible. Come into the
Oh,
office."
that's so funny because I have found people wanna be in person, and maybe that's because 'cause I'm an in-person they're reaching out because they wanna be in person, and it's more of a
Yeah.
skewed reality, but,
I
uh
do have people that travel 2 hours to see me in person, and so
yeah.
I think it just really depends what you want. But people who are within an 45-hour drive, I'm like, "You come on in."
Yeah. Yeah, I
At
would
least
agree with that.
if it's an
What
emergency. Yeah.
what would you say to the person who is considering getting a Splankna session done, and they're listening to this podcast because 'cause they're researching and they're, like, feeling it out? Like, what would you say to the person who's like, I think this could help me, but I'm nervous or I'm hesitant."
Um, go for it. Well,
Just go for
my
it.
thing is, and I even tell my pray about it. I mean, if something's pulling you to it, you need to just go for it. Just jump right in. I mean, it
Yeah,
can't.
ask the Lord,
It,
"Is this pull from
yeah,
you?"
yeah.
Yeah.
First pray and say, but if it keeps pulling you in, you need to just jump in. I mean, what can it harm? You
Mhm.
know, there's what can it harm?
Yeah, I would imagine I don't think we would have ever done it if we didn't know the practitioner that we drove our son to all those years ago, but we trusted her. We knew she loved Jesus immensely. She had an amazing, deep relationship with Jesus, and we trusted her faith. So that's why I love these interviews, this series of getting you guys on here, because it's so much less intimidating to reach out to you after I got to hear you talk for an hour. I got to hear that you love Jesus, following him, honoring him really matters to you, than just calling up a random practitioner and hoping that they actually love Jesus, and hopefully
Exactly.
hoping that they actually are honoring to him and all those things.
And I would suspect if you're this far into learning, or maybe you just all of a sudden looked at this podcast and what is this about? Let me look into it. Then you do some research. But most of the people that come to me have already done the research. Is this based in Christ? Is this based on biblical boundaries? Because we have very strong boundaries that we don't step out of with, in our training as practitioners. We don't step into special knowledge, or, we're really limited in, we limit ourselves. We only want within God's boundaries. And I think if you don't know that, then you would be skeptical, and you should be skeptical.
You
But I
should
think
be, yeah.
most people that come to me have already done the research. And I have a lot of new clients that come to me that just didn't see the Energy to Heal podcast. They saw the Laura Milliken TikTok. And so
Oh, yeah.
that's cool. And then it leads them to do research.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I
And
think
I would even say, if you go to the Splankna website and you see all those practitioners, if those practitioners made it to the master's level, which most of them are masters, some of them are advanced, I think,
correct.
but certified advanced. Like
Yes.
if you're on the website, if you see someone on the website, I mean, I have not met someone at a training who I'm like, do you actually know Jesus? I mean, it is a room full of people
Absolutely
who
not.
are absolutely all in, faith-based, biblically rooted. It's like
Right.
amazing. I mean, I
Right.
just love those trainings so much.
What I love too is a lot of times people will tell me they went to the website and they were just drawn to me. And so I think it's probably like that for many practitioners.
Yeah.
God is in this, and he's going to lead you. And so just be in prayer. Is this for me? Is this the type of healing? Do you want me to use this modality to heal me? And who would you like me to go see? And
I love
he'll
that so much.
just trust the leading.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing your story.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. And you guys, since we've been talking about training so much, if you hear this and something in you is just like, man, I want to go get trained in this, I want to encourage you. You don't have to be a professional counselor or have therapy experience. I came as a registered nurse and got trained. And if you go to the website, lauramilliken.com, you can check out this button that will link you to where you can sign up for the next training. They usually offer 3 a year. And if you're signing up for the core training, you can put in the promo code podcast and you'll actually get a discount on your training. And I would just really encourage you, if you feel that pull, please pray about it. It has literally changed the trajectory of my whole life getting trained in this. My faith in the Lord it's not anywhere near what it used to be. I have grown so much in my understanding of Him, and I've never, not a day, regretted going to get trained in that. So, all right, guys, we're going to wrap it up. Thank you guys for being here, for listening. I hope this episode blessed you as much as it blessed me. And we're going to be back next week with another interview with another practitioner who's going to share her story of her Splankna work, her Splankna journey. So we'll see you next week.